Spoiler alert! Here are all the hints leading to the identity of the enigmatic new Sith Lord that appears in the Acolyte. The Acolyte Sith Lord, officially known only as the Master, is unquestionably a formidable opponent. At the conclusion of the Acolyte, Episode 4, he made his formal debut by unleashing a telekinetic blast that threw Jedi around like flies in a hurricane. He wears a mask, just like many other Sith Lords, which has caused some fans to theorize that he's really someone else in the show and is hiding his true identity.
The most popular idea holds that the Sith Lord is actually the smuggler Qimir, watching his prospective pupil from a distance while she completes her task for him. The argument is undoubtedly supported by a large amount of circumstantial evidence, but it's hard to determine for sure at this point if this is too blatant or just misdirection. Here are all the hints that point to Qimir being the Acolyte Sith Lord, should that be the case. Welcome to Movie Spy. May is unaware of the true identity of the Sith Lord. Why does the Sith Lord refuse to reveal who he really is? Of course, Sith Lords wearing helmets is nothing special, and just because someone wears a mask doesn't mean they are concealing anything. Ahsoka, where months of conjecture about the Inquisitor Marek concluded with the disheartening discovery that he was nothing more than a reanimated corpse, is a lesson that Star Wars watchers really ought to have learned. It appears that the Acolyte is preparing a different strategy, though. The Acolyte seems to be implying that the Sith Lord is hiding something, unlike Ahsoka. In the Acolyte Episode 4, May and Manny Qimir have a sharp talk in which May questions her buddy inquisitively about the Master's secrets. May feels this is significant and wonders what it signifies because she has never seen his genuine face and doesn't even seem to know his name. The Sith Lord and Qimir have never been in the same location. Or is this just a random event? Of course, the most fundamental truth behind this entire theory is that Qimir and the Master have never been spotted in the same location. This is true even in cases where it is known that they are geographically adjacent to one another, like in the case of Qofar in Episode 4 of the Acolyte. It certainly gives cause for concern. Qimir's statements regarding the Master don't add up. He's being blatantly evasive. When May asks Qimir how much he knows about the Master, his evasive response is the next thing we see. I just owe him, he says. You know how he collects people. Although it's plausible that he simply dislikes sharing information, Jacinto's performance exhibits a degree of obvious discomfort that implies he's not delighted with the queries. May shouldn't be thinking about Qimir's relationship with the Master, in his opinion. Is Qimir only ignoring May? Or is he really afraid of provoking May to consider the identity of the person hiding beneath the Sith Lord's mask, for fear that she may begin to doubt their shared identity? This specific exchange of dialogue raises the likelihood that the Acolyte Sith Lord is actually Qimir, however subtly. Think of it like a lampshading moment in the newest Scooby-Doo mystery. Qimir's response to Osha is unsettlingly dangerous. He effortlessly switches to a nasty tone. The next hint appears in the second episode of The Acolyte, where Osha, played by Amandla Stenberg, poses as her twin during a meeting with Qimir. First, the smuggler gives into it, speaking a little too much, and then, with unsettling ease, he turns from being friendly to menacing. What's even more remarkable, though, is that the instant the Jedi show up, he reverts to his ignorant and fumbling ways. It is obvious from the inference that this is something more dark than just another roguish Han Solo figure. Qimir, at the very least, is a Sith ally who is keeping his cards close to his chest. Alternatively, it's also plausible that Qimir is hiding his actual identity from May as well, given how skilled he is at pretending. Is he really the Sith Lord, manipulating everyone around him with mind games? There are nonsensical sources of information available to Qimir. He possesses insider knowledge of the Jedi Order. The Acolyte has made subtle allusions to Sith spies within the Jedi. Both May and Qimir allude to having access to confidential material in the first two episodes. May is aware of the details of Torben's previous reports to the Jedi Council, while Qimir has located Kelnaka on Qofar. Both would require having entry to the Jedi records. In particular, Qimir's casual mention of Qofar becomes more enigmatic following the Acolyte Episode 4. It was previously assumed that he had just discovered the planet where the Wookiee Jedi resided. Nevertheless, it is now evident that he searched the woodlands and discovered him. His account seems to have slightly, or rather suspiciously, shifted, but the Jedi are still unquestionably the source of his information. One who collects people as a Sith would only possess such resources. As Qimir reminds May of her mission, she feels like a master. He takes great care to guide May on the proper path. The Acolyte Episode 4's voyage through Qofar's jungle has a humorous Lord of the Rings vibe and also gives May some time for introspection. This doesn't seem to delight Qimir too much, as he keeps trying to bring the topic back to May's objective. He reminds her of the guidelines, which also helps viewers understand that May needs to use their own lightsaber or kill a Jedi without using a weapon. But after some thought, this seems a little bit sharp. Even if Qimir is already aware of this, there's a certain intensity in this scene that makes it seem like more than simply small talk. He really does act like a master, taking great care to remind May of her objective because he thinks that seeing Osha will make her forget it. Qimir foretells the Master's response to May's betrayal. It seems like a last caution. May is indeed losing her edge, as Qimir correctly perceives. She probably believed that something had long since died off off, but something has awakened within her at the sight of Osha. May, a Sith assassin, senses the light side of the Force's redeeming power. Attachment has the power to both draw people toward the light and draw them into it. After setting off a trap that any Ewok would be proud of, May goes to give herself over to Master Kelnaka. All she wants is to be with her sister, who has been missing for a long time. What's intriguing is Qimir's response. He tries to remind May of her mission at first, then warns her of the potential implications. He doesn't appear to be accepting of the situation until he finds out that she plans to tell the Jedi everything she knows about the Master. Qimir threatens to kill her. He will now see May as a possible threat because he is aware of how closely the Master keeps his secrets. It's highly likely that he is aware of this since, as the Master, he is unable to allow the Jedi to learn of May's knowledge. After May leaves Qimir, the Master appears on Kofar. There are simply too many coincidences. Unbeknownst to May, the Acolyte Episode 5 is set to include a thrilling and action-packed conflict between the forces of light and dark since the Master is actually on Kofar. The fact that he appears only after Qimir has been imprisoned is remarkable, though. Furthermore, it's obvious that he's exploiting the forest canopy to avoid detection, the same canopy that May attempted to use to catch Qimir with her Ewok trap. It feels so real, like this is Qimir. The Acolyte Episode 4 appears to lampoon this turn of events with one line of dialogue. May informs Qimir he'd have to find